Welcome to Ag Tech Talk by AgriBusiness Global, where we explore the cutting-edge technologies and global crop protection industry. I'm your host, Lauren Milligan, content specialist for AgriBusiness Global. Today, we'll be diving into a new development in the biological space. We're joined by two special guests. We have Amit Noam, CEO of Lavie Bio, and we also have Eleanor Erez from ICL Group. We'll be talking about ICL's recent acquisition of Lavie Bio and an exciting new move that signals big things for the future of sustainable agriculture. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And I'd like to kick off our conversation today with a little talk about strategy. Can you guys walk us through ICL's thinking behind the acquisition of Lavie Bio and why was this the right time to make that move?
So I can start. Thanks a lot for the opportunity. So basically, this collaboration started about 3 years ago by a collaboration or an investment that was done in Lavie Bio. We found this company the most appropriate for ICL to invest in and to start collaboration because we found Lavie Bio's platform and methodologies basically by the ones that will be able to push us forward and to accelerate basically our development in biologicals. And after 2.5 years or 3 years, basically it was the right time to move forward and to utilize basically this unique platform to other products that will basically be embedded or integrated with the diverse portfolio of ICL, which we already have.
Amit, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think that this, as Eleanor said, they started 3 years ago, and the collaboration, sat on the same strategic path and the same vision both companies had about, moving more and more towards sustainable agriculture, more and more towards sustainable solutions. And because the collaboration was so positive and the direction was the same, the ability for us also as a small company to accelerate our platform, our technology within ICL was a great opportunity. And that's why we think it's a great win for both parties.
Great, thank you so much. How might the integration of Lavie Bio's microbiome-based technologies with ICL's resources accelerate the development and global adoption of ag biological solutions in mainstream crop inputs?
So I can start, and Amit, you can add later. As Amit said, Lavie Bio is a startup company that basically specializes with those kind of solutions, but they can deliver only this kind of product. So they will sell eventually a bacterial solution that will be sold into the farmer. Then the farmer will add the other fertilizers, the other crop protection product, and apply them into the field. And I think that what ICL brings into the business is, first of all, the wide variety of its portfolio in the different regions. And secondly, we have very wide distribution of agronomists, basically, that knows the unmet need, like feet on the ground, connection to the farmers, that can connect us directly to what are the pain points, basically, on the farmers, and then that we will be able to tailor, basically, the solutions based on the platform that Lavie Bio will bring into the collaboration or partnership. And secondly, I think that ICL has an ambitious targets for developing sustainable product. And I think that it's very trivial to us to combine those fertilizers that we already have with those kind of bacteria. So potentially we would like to enhance basically the solutions that the farmer will get by combination of our vast portfolio and those very unique products, specific products.
Just to add, as we all know, we're trying to solve a huge challenge of the growing population, not additional arable land, and how do you grow and give solutions and grow more food for so many more people without more resources. And one solution here is technology, but when we envision the future, we don't see, only chemicals, only biologicals doing enough to solve this problem. But the future will be a combination of chemicals and biologicals integrated together, because the farmers want a solution. They actually don't care if it's come from a microbe or it comes from a RNA or it comes from a chemical. And the combination here of bringing the chemical expertise with the biological expertise and looking at the farmer as how you build integrated solution, this is where we believe the entire agriculture community is going. And that will enable to solve this huge global challenge that we're trying to solve.
what role will artificial intelligence, particularly platforms like MicroBoost AI, play in transforming the R&D process for biostimulants and biopesticides within the broader ag tech ecosystem?
I love this
So,
question. So, you want to start, Amit?
maybe I'll start because when we did this 6 years ago, we needed to explain AI and what it can bring and all of that. And today, when we have all this generative AI, it's much easier to envision what you can do with all these platforms, what we can do with all of these machine learning algorithms, that if you can enable the machine to learn and have all this data and bring new insights of identifying which microbes can solve which problems in which abiotic stresses and in which conditions and in which areas, that's a game changer in this market. And what our platform and platforms like us do is reducing significantly the time to market, because it enables to pinpoint exactly the microbes that will be able to solve their specific problems. And today it's microbes, tomorrow it can be any other technology going into this market. And this will grow exponentially in the way you can actually be much, much more precise in bringing the right solution to the crops, much like precision medicine did in human. That's what we're trying to do in using AI in agriculture.
Thanks, Amit. I can add that from R&D perspective, basically, I think that AI is like the bread and butter now. It's, as Amit said, we use it all over. From my previous experience coming from the pharma, basically, from the biopharmaceutical development, we use definitely a lot of AI-based tool to predict new molecules. And when I joined the company, that was one of the things that I thought that we have to do that. How come agriculture behaves differently from the biopharmaceutical industry? And basically, I think that eventually the agriculture business will adopt those methodologies coming from other businesses and other R&D world in order to meet the unmet needs of the world changing, of the climate, basically, and the extreme conditions. And I can also share that in ICL, I mean, of course, we will rely on the MicroBoost technology, but we're also building tools along basically the discovery process and also the late stage development and the agronomical trials in order to reduce eventually the time to market and to get to product as soon as possible. So we also have methodologies that we're using basically to shorten the agronomical trials, the number of agronomical trials, and also basically how can we shorten the duration of those trials that will not have to go all the way through the yield, but to model basically and to have like indicators that will allow us to stop basically the trial during the season and not to get to the end point and then to get very nice prediction of the yield increase based on those trials. So I think that, and we have it not only, of course, in R&D, we have it also in operation. I mean, looking on trends of results, that's really like the basic that ICL is also as part of the industry moving to industry 4.0. That's also some of the methodologies that were implemented to improve our manufacturing capabilities, operational, supply chain, of course. So it's all over in the supply chain of developing and commercializing a product.
That's amazing. How could this acquisition influence the competitive landscape of the ag biologicals market, especially in terms of innovation, pipelines, and product commercialization?
I mentioned earlier, because basically we have more than 500 agronomists that has like feet on the ground understanding of what are the farmer needs. I feel that we will be able to tailor the solution in a very nice way compared to any other startup company. And basically by that, to create a unique solutions to the farmer. We could basically address, of course, reduction of volatilization that we see as a major problem, especially in Europe because of the regulation, which is getting more and more tangible with a clear criteria. So we see that as a problem, and we have some ideas basically how can we utilize this platform also to address this kind of question. As an example, but there are many more. And I think that the beauty of it, that we have people all around the globe, so we will not have like one solution fits all. We will be able to deliver or to develop basically product for a specific crop in a specific territory, because we do understand that compared to fertilizers, biostimulants are not meant to be one solution fits all, but the results of the efficacy or of the product is very much dependent on the variability of the soil, the conditions, basically, both from a microbial point of view and from physiochemical point of view of the soil. Of course, the climate, etc., etc. So we can give you some examples. We are developing a new product that will address drought resistance in soybeans, specifically in Brazil. So we chose basically the countries that we would like to create a solution. And then using this platform, we have a very nice candidate that demonstrate results in that area and also in the US. So it could be that there will be different because of the different properties of the soils in the US compared to Brazil. And from a commercial point of view, definitely, I mean, that's the uniqueness of ICL. We have a wide portfolio, wide variety of product in our portfolio. So I think that it absolutely makes sense and that we will be able to add ag biologicals also into this one. And as I said earlier, to embed basically our traditional one together with those new products.
I think from a global competitive landscape, as someone looking from the outside at ICL, I see this, this company moving through a tremendous transformation in recent years, moving from a more traditional company to a very innovative company and putting both biological sustainability and technology at the forefront. And when you combine the huge commercial footprint and power of ICL together with cutting edge technology, and you put all of that together, ICL is aiming to be a leader in the space. And I think that together with our capabilities, technology, and a strategy going to putting biologicals in the center, that will enable ICL to really take a leadership position in the biological space.
Thank you. And in what ways does this deal reflect a broader trend of consolidation and collaboration between traditional crop input companies and data-driven biotech startups?
You want to start on it?
So, yes, happy to. I think that the coming from a startup, the startups are very, very focused and have the luxury of focusing only on their technology, on something that enables them to bring something unique to the world. But they're lacking the very, very difficult go-to-market in order to be able to expand and get to a very, very broad reach of customers. And that's what we're trying to do. We're here not to make great technology. We're here to bring solutions to farmers and get to as many farmers out there. And because of this, we see more and more companies combining traditional companies with startups, with technologies in order to bring joint solutions to the market. And we already saw in recent years, and I believe it will accelerate, more and more collaborations between companies like ICL and startups like Lavie Bio, because it makes sense. It makes sense to both sides. It enables these big companies to source external innovation and these small companies to be able to get the distribution and commercialization of their product and get the reach that they want. So I think it's totally the trend and where this market is going to.
I can add that I fully agree with what you said, Amit. I can add that basically we established a new lab, a new R&D center in Israel a couple of months ago, because we understood basically what was missing in ICL from that aspect, as I said, from a small data-driven biotechnology company that will be able to leverage and to push forward the new product. So for us, it was very clear that we need to go to that direction. And we invest a lot in external collaboration, because whatever we cannot do internal, we look for external collaboration. And we have different platforms. We have like a platform which is like early stages of research with professors from the academias, from early stage seed funded companies. And then we have a second platform, which was the one that also invested back then in Lavie, because that's the point where we identify a company that has a unique technology that we would like to fund a different program that will be dedicated for ICL. So from our point of view, it absolutely makes sense. And I think that building the new lab and then basically shortening the time by acquiring Lavie Bio and moving our plans ahead of time was very trivial for us. And I think that was one of the reasons or one of the incentives basically to have this acquisition.
What are some of the implications of separating Lavie Bio's current partner agreements from the acquisition, and how might that affect future innovation and licensing opportunities?
I can answer this. All the team and the technology and the biostimulant portfolio is moving to ICL. ICL is a company focusing on crop nutrition, and that's why this acquisition was built in this way. So it shouldn't have any effect on ICL's ability to leverage all the capabilities and all the know-how of Lavie Bio moving forward.
Eleanor, is there anything you'd like to add?
I mean, the deal was designed in that way. So our interests are, we are all aligned.
Wonderful. That's awesome. And for my last question, how can microbiome-based technologies contribute to addressing major agronomic challenges such as abiotic stress while aligning with global sustainability goals in the ag market?
So I can start. The plant will always need fertilizers. Definitely. The direct plant nutrition is like the basic backbone that the plant needs to grow and to grow basically biomass. However, fertilizers by themselves do not deal with different kind of stresses. They could support it, but they cannot deal it with those kind of abiotic stress. And those product, the new product, which some of them are relying on microbiome or microbial solutions, basically, are the ones that we understand that could basically give the plant a huge advantage while it's suffering from those kind of stress. So there are a few mechanisms that are well known regarding the way the plant deals with those stress conditions. And the team in Lavie, and not only Lavie, basically have mapped the contribution of these bacteria and how can it deals with this kind of stress. So I think that eventually the farmer will get higher yields, of course. I mean, we know, for example, in Brazil, in the last 2 years, the soybean yield was much lower than what we saw before. And basically, that's because of the low rain or the low watering, basically. So eventually, basically, by applying this kind of bacteria, the farmer could ensure that it will get a higher yield. So eventually, it basically has a huge effect on the amount of food that farmers produce. And let's say that if we have 1 or 2 years of those kind of climate condition, that we have drought condition, especially, for example, in Brazil, eventually the farmer will get lower yield. He will get less, he will have less affordability for next season. So we will all suffer from that. And I think that the addition of those unique bacteria or microbial solution could ensure that the farmer will be back to normal or at least higher than to the control where he didn't add this bacteria. That once again, it cannot be reached by only fertilization plan. So it's a great basically effort that we're rushing to have those kind of product in our pipeline to ensure eventually that we'll have enough food and that the farmer will have affordability for next season. It's also very important. Eventually, the economics is very strong here. I mean, it has to make sense to all partners. And those products and others, as I said, gives us a handful of solutions to deal with those stresses. And it's not only abiotic. We're also talking about heavy metals in the soil, salinity soils. We're talking about different kinds of problems. Losses of nitrogen, of course, that the farmers deal today and lose money every season for that. So I have a very optimistic and ambitious view on how those products will be able to support basically the future of the agriculture.
I'll just add that this is exactly the core of our collaboration with ICL. Our collaboration with ICL started looking at sustainability, at climate change, or what abiotic stresses we can solve using the combination between Lavie Bio and ICL. And both of the programs that we already have ongoing collaboration are dealing with that. And when we look at the future and we look at all the additional programs that we want to start, all of them have that in mind. We're here to solve these problems, how to make all these challenges coming from climate change more effective and more possible for farmers.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you guys would like to add to this conversation?
I think that talking about the unmet cities, as I said, it's a fascinating area. There's a lot of basically unmet needs. We focus a lot about emissions. It's very important to us, to create basically sustainable agriculture and to reduce the footprint, basically, of the fertilizers that we're using. So, as I said, we will always need the fertilizers, but looking for the future, basically, I think that this kind of product will be able to reduce the footprint and eventually create sustainable agriculture that will be very easily see the value out of it.
Thank you both so much for your time. This has been a very enlightening conversation, and every time I do these interviews, I learn something new. So thank you both very much. Thanks for listening to Ag Tech Talk by AgriBusiness Global. Stay connected with the latest in ag tech and crop protection by following us on LinkedIn and visiting agribusinessglobal.com for more insights and updates. Until next time.